Alright, we're gonna put the sanding strip around, secure it, make sure it's nice and sanitized. We're gonna use a line up spritz, blow dry it, and we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna use my rose gold FX trimmers. These are slightly gapped. I like to use these instead of using, let's say, my Andes Slimlines or my Wall Retros. Those are very gapped, so I find that if I use my rose gold FX trimmers that aren't extremely gapped, it's a lot easier to get that line out. I'm gonna make a nice line. You notice that I'm dropping the line behind near the occipital bone. I'm dropping it below that because he likes it to keep a nice drop. He doesn't want me to go too high. And this low drop fade, well, I guess it's like a mid to low drop fade. It's a lot nicer for his head shape. And you can see his hair's pretty short. There's my dog Maui. He needs a haircut too. Alright, once we ball that out, I'm gonna use the shavers to get it shaved all the way down to the skin. I'm gonna go in an up motion and then a down motion once I get it shaved down. So you see I'm going up a bit and then I'm going down afterwards. And now I'm going to use my Slimline Pro Lithium, my Andes trimmers. These are very gapped. I'm using the back of the blade to get even closer than using the front of the blade. A lot of beginners might not know the back of the blade's a lot sharper than the front of the blade. And that helps me diminish any lines that I created with the shaver. And now I'm going to clip his hair up, secure it, so I don't cut any of those long pieces. And I'm going to use my number 2. I'm going to open that up. We're going to go all the way up. And you can see I'm flicking it off the surface of his head. I'm not digging into it. You don't want to do that. You will ruin the shape. And it won't be what he wants. And we're going to go almost an inch with the 0.5 lever all the way open. And start your first guideline. And on my wall, my magic clips here, I have the taper blade. I don't have the fade blade. So it tapers up a little bit. It's not straight up. It's not as sharp as the other blades. And what I'm doing here is I'm all the way closed. My lever's closed. I'm bumping out the first section. And now I'm going to open it just a bit, you see there. And we're going to go just a little higher than that first section right there. So you'll want to think about these lines as 3 sections. Closed, mid, and then open a little bit more. And then all the way open would be your original guideline. So here I'm just cleaning out that second section. And then I'm a little bit of lever play. I'm playing with the lever. I'm closing it a little bit, opening it a little bit. If the heaviness is lower to the bottom of his head, then I close it more. If the heaviness is higher up into the guideline, I open up the blade. And you see there's a little heaviness, so I open it all the way just to make sure I got everything nice and flush. And then you see right there, I'm still open all the way. I closed it a little bit because I saw a little bit of heaviness. And here I'm completely closed. The lever is closed. And you can see I just moved that line up a little bit, open it up in a little quarter. So a quarter of the blade is open. And I'm just flicking it out. It's a bit of a tight space to work with, so. And I do not want to bring that line higher. And here I'm still just doing a lot of lever play, playing with the lever. And now I'm fixing up the back a little bit here. You want to make sure each section is nice and clean before you move on to your next section. So here's my one guard. And I'm going to go another, let's say, half an inch, almost an inch. And I'm just doing the side of one side of the head at a time to show you guys how I do my fades. Typically in the barbershop, during a full day, I would do the whole head all the way around. I don't have time to do half the head and then check it out and do the other half. as you get more experience, you'll find it's not very difficult to do this. You'll find it easier, and it'll make your job easier in general. So right here, we're closed a little bit with the one. We're just fixing up the second section. A little bit above the original one. Or between the 0.5 and the 1, sorry. And here I'm just cleaning that bottom area a little bit. And now we're going to go with our half guard, with our 0 guard. And we're going to go all the way open. And we're going to clean up that heaviness right in between the half that we did in the beginning and the number 1 that we just did. So I'll do a 0, and then I do the open, and then I fade that out, and then I do a number 1 guard, fade that out, and then we do a 0 guard. So now I'm closing it halfway. Clean up that section. Right there you see some heaviness. You can see it's starting to come out really nice. And this particular client of mine, he comes to the shop every week. So the fade isn't as straining as, let's say, someone who comes in after a month or 2. The hair's pretty short when I started the fade, so doesn't take much to get those lines out. You can see I'm really getting into that. You can see a little bit of a line right there, a little dot, I guess. And that's just part of an old line. And we're gonna get all that out. So you can see those dots right there. That's what I'm attacking right now with the 0 guard. Open it all the way. And then we're gonna close it just a little bit. We're gonna start open. And I'm gonna use the corner of the blades. And you can see that line right there. It'll start to diminish. It's slowly starting to disappear. And just keep going at it, man. I like using the corners for detail work. If you don't use the corners, it's way easier to make a new line. So we're gonna close the lever halfway, and we're gonna get a little more of those lines. And you can see those lines are starting to go away. Those dots are starting to go away, those little dark spots. And you see I closed my blade almost all the way. It's still open just a little bit, and you can see it's starting to really get rid of those heavy spots. And just a little bit by the TPP point, temple P point, and you can see those heavy spots have diminished. And now I'm going to close the blade all the way. I'm just going to flick. So now I'm going to take my 1.5 guard, and I'm going to attack that area right there. That line, you can see it just right there, that heaviness, right where the parietal, right below the parietal ridge, I'm sorry. There you go, and you can see I took it out pretty nice. And then we're going to close it. Right after this, close it a little bit. You can see that heavy spot. I'm going to take care of that heavy spot later with the shears. We're going to close it halfway. Open it again. And you can see it's a lot of lever play. I do a lot of lever play. Playing around with that lever. I like to use my eyes and my ears a lot for the fading. There is a process that I have, but I don't keep it strictly to that process. I like to mix it up a little bit. I like to go in. This gives my clients a unique fade. This doesn't give them the exact same fade that I'm giving every single person. This gives me everything. The contour of his head, where I place the lines, everything. I try to do a little unorthodox because that creates something unique. Something you're not going to see on everyone else. It's not going to be a cookie cutter cut. It's not going to look the same as everyone else's head. And you can see the shape that I gave him on the back. And you can see here, I'm just cleaning up. I'm using freehand techniques with my shears or my scissors, whatever you want to call it. Even my clippers, I get my clippers out. This is getting rid of any hairs hanging over. I use my freehand techniques a lot. I think you should get really good at freehand. You notice how I'm using my other hand as a kickstand. And that kickstand will help you not push in. to the head and create any holes. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side of the head. I'm gonna open it up with the half, make that nice guideline, almost an inch, close it up all the way, and knock out that first section. We're gonna open it a little bit, knock out that second section. And we're gonna open it a little more, knock out the third section, and then we're gonna use our one guard, open it all the way. This side of his head's a little easier for me to fade. So this is open. We're gonna close it just a little bit. Get that second section. And then we're gonna go with the zero guard, the half guard. And we're gonna open that up, get rid of all these dark spots. And you can see how much faster this side faded than the other side. It doesn't give me as much trouble. Shape of his head really helps me on this side. And you can see it's coming out real nice. So dark spots higher up, blade's gonna be more open. Dark spots lower, the blade's gonna be a little more closed. And now I'm using my one open. I'm just getting rid of any heavy spots on the back area here, because you can notice he has some dips there. You see right where I'm hitting right there, there's a dark spot. That's because his head dips in there on this side of the head. He doesn't really have a dip on the other side of his head. So the contour and the shape of the head is a very important thing when you're trying to do a fade, especially with a new client. Client consultation is key. You want to feel their head out, see what it feels like. Right here I'm still just doing a lot of touching up, and this is where I'm going to take my shears and my taper comb, and we're going to clean up any heavy spots. This is really extra touch-up work. This is the type of stuff you really want to do. This is going to give you cleaner fades than your competitors, than other barbers. And you can see it's looking really nice. And I'm just going to lighten up this area right here with my shears. And the reason why I use my clipper like that when I was using it forward, it's because the hair grows down. So I'm just going to cut it downwards. It's going to blend easier. So the fade's good. Fade looks nice. We're going to chop in to the beard. We're going to use a 0.5 first, create a section, and then chop it out. Similar to the way that we're doing the fade, but it's just backwards. So I'm going to close it up a little bit. A lot of the way I fade my beards is almost like freehand fading. I don't really make crazy sections. And you can see I'm using my Slimline Pro to get rid of the line that I created with the balders, with my 5-star shavers. And we're gonna line up behind his neck real nice. You don't want to push that too back. We're gonna try and keep it pretty low. I don't want to go too high on his beard. He likes it quite low, but his beard grows out quite uneven on the bottom, so you got to be real careful with this part depending on your client. But you can see that's nice and even. Gonna get the mustache, clean up above the lips, on top of it, and I'm just giving a kind of a rough draft for when I come in with my blade. And we're gonna line up his top, keep him nice and natural, don't push back, use the corners, make sure your blade's not too sharp because you are gonna cut him. If you don't cut him, if you don't notice the cut now, he'll notice it later. It'll pop up, so be careful with that. Make sure you always ask your clients, does this feel comfortable? Does this blade feel okay on you? And here I'm going to use my Slimline Pros, get that bald line out. It works like a charm, man. Use my half guard. And I put shaving gel on. I put a hot towel. I didn't show that process. I'll get a little more into the shaving process a little later on in these videos. I'll do one where I'm not actually talking over it. I'm not doing a voiceover. I'll do a real-time video where I'm shaving one of my clients or lining up one of my clients. And I always wipe off after I shave, because I want to wipe it off, wipe off the dry skin, wipe off the shave gel, and you want to see what you actually created, because sometimes that dry skin can give you a false look. You're not actually seeing what is there, it's just dry skin. So you want to get rid of that. Make sure what you're cutting is actually not there anymore. And you can see right there, that looks pretty nice and smooth. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Get rid of all the excess hair. You can see that beard came out really nice. And what we're going to do here, this part of his crown, it sticks out a lot. I'm going to use my shears. I'm not going to use clippers to cut this. You do not want to cut this off. If you cut this off, anyone that sees him from the side profile is going to think that whoever cut his hair did not do a very good job. It's going to make the shape of his head look really odd, very off. And we actually did this on a Sunday. I did this on one of the days we're actually closed. I didn't do this during regular hours, so you can see my girlfriend. She's in the back. She just did her friend's hair. And my dog's just hanging out. He's just waiting for me to finish. So here I'm using nice point cutting techniques. I took the glove off because I only had larger size gloves. They don't really fit my hands well. So these ones are a little loose. So if I'm using them on my left hand, I'm just going to cut through them. And it's just pointless. It's just going to wear up my shears. So I took my glove off on my left hand. When I usually have the black gloves, like let's say the Elegance gloves, I usually leave the gloves on. And for this particular client, I actually grew his crown out now. So I wish I could show you guys what it looks like now. This was from a couple weeks ago. So this video, you see his crown is just sticking up a little bit. But we grew it out and it looks a lot better. I'm going to do another video with him and I'm going to show you guys what his crown really looks like now. Because we fixed it up. I recommend if you're having trouble with one of your clients' crowns, just grow it out, man. Tell them to tough it out and grow it out. So I'm going to use texturizing powder by Ptosis, by Washcloth. It's my favorite texturizing powder. This is the best texturizing powder. We sell it at the shop. I'm going to start selling it online on the website. So you want to rub it in. And then we're going to start blow drying. I'm using my Dyson blow dryer. It's the limited edition Dyson blow dryer. 23.75 karat gold on the end there. This is the best blow dryer I've ever used. This is definitely an amazing blow dryer. I highly recommend it. The limited edition one comes with a pretty high price point, but it was a gift from my girlfriend, man. God bless her. She's amazing. She got me a good birthday gift. Right here, we are touching up the dark spots, just a little touch-up work with my shears. I like to look at my work after I blow dry it. I like to see everything the way the client's gonna see their hair once they go home and blow dry it themselves and have a shower. I'm gonna use Prairie Boys matte pomade. Prairie Boys Supply is a company out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's a local brand we have here. We sell it at the shop. One of my favorite matte pomades. I love it. It's nice because it's not too thick. Gives it a nice matte look. I'm gonna finish with just a little bit of hairspray. And I'm just doing this for a little bit of hold. And you can see the finished result. It looks very, very nice. This is Sass the Barber. I'll be back with another video next week. Thank you.